Hey guys, and welcome back to the Tech Buddies podcast. Today's video is going to be 26 new iPadOS 26 features that you need to know about. So, without any further ado, let's start. Feature 1 is lock screen time resizing. You can see in the lock screen now the text is more readable or more transparent, actually, not readable. And it's bigger now in width and length. So, that's definitely going to make it more readable in the long run, especially if your devices are far or something. You can see the time. The time is the first priority in your lock screen. And if you have notifications, it's able to resize itself back or whatever. It's able to adapt. There's also 3D wallpapers. So if you have a 2D image, it's able to give it a 3D background, and you're able, when you look at it from a certain angle or when you tilt your phone from a certain angle, the image also reacts to that. Definitely a cool feature. I'll include a demo. And this new liquid glass principle that Apple has used in their software is more reflective, it's more reactive to light, and it definitely is quite good to use or good to look at, but it does affect the readability quite a bit. But liquid glass definitely looks really nice. And speaking of liquid glass, I think you can talk about the new icons also, which is designed after liquid glass. The icons are more reflective now, whether it's the Files app or the Maps. You will notice a smaller change. They've tried to keep it similar, but it's also more transparent, more translucent, and definitely nice to look at. We can move on to the settings app now, and the settings app has also gotten a slight redesign. Again, tied in with the liquid glass principle, you can see behind the search bar, everything is a lot more transparent now. Let's move on to the battery part of the settings app, and you can see that the way the battery status is displayed now is a lot more easier to understand compared to what it was before. Previously the graphs that were implemented were not as easy to understand. Now it's easier to understand. And also it tells you if you're using a slow charger or fast charger. Now I'm plugged into my laptop, so it shows slow charger. Do note I'm running the developer beta of iPadOS, so this is very buggy, but I wanted to show you guys the features. That's why I'm using this developer beta. I personally would recommend to wait for a bit and then download. When the public beta comes out, you can probably download it. And let's talk about the new major feature that has come to iPadOS 26, thing that changes everything, and that is multitasking and gestures. For those of you who know before that Stage Manager wasn't available on every iPad, now every iPad that has iPadOS 26 miraculously gets Stage Manager. So if you're a person that was missing out on Stage Manager, you have it now. But the main thing that Apple has included is a new app switching layout, which is the windowed apps. And this also comes to all iPadOS 26 supported devices, and that's brilliant. You can see when I drag the app from the corner, the bottom right corner, the app is able to resize according to how much I drag it. And that is pretty cool. It is usable from all points, and it does not end there. I can also have multiple apps open, for example, the music app, and I can resize it accordingly. I can drag it to one side, I can drag the other app to the other side too. And moving on to our ninth feature, which is the macOS like traffic indicators, or what as people like to say, navigation bar indicators. There's a close, minimize, and maximize buttons now. And not just that, like macOS, if you long press on it, you can also tile the windows like how you would on macOS. And this is not limited to two apps. There's a lot more apps. For example, if I open the calendar app right now, I can still have the calendar app open. I can have the music app open. And I've tried it with more than six apps at one time. And so far, considering it's a developer beta, I'm kind of surprised how Apple is able to get it to work and get it to resize. They've definitely thought a lot about it while implementing this. And the one last feature within the windowed apps is a menu bar. So now it has like a macOS like menu bar. Definitely brings another layer of interaction with all apps. And since iPads now support also external displays, it's going to change the game when it comes to multitasking. For anyone that has an iPad that supports this, and you like multitasking on your iPad, and previously you might have been disappointed especially when you compare it to your laptop, now things have changed completely. This is definitely the highlight of the update. But I'll go back to full screen apps for now. And we can talk about the next feature, which is the 11th feature, which is the new control center behavior. The control center has a more reflective design, again tying in with the liquid glass that Apple has implemented, but now it does not cover as much as as much as it did before of your screen. Previously, when you pull the control center, the whole screen would be blurred and transparent. Now, only the part that the control center covers is blurred out. Definitely useful when you are getting some important tasks done, but you quickly access the control center. It does not disrupt your workflow entirely. Again, not a major feature, but a small thing that I wanted to include. Now, the new dock has one additional thing that it did not have before, and that is the downloads tab, similar to how it was on macOS. So that is also cool, especially if you have documents in the downloads tab that you need to use frequently within the iPad. For me, this is definitely a useful feature. You can always call on it from the dock itself. You don't have to open the Files app and then long press and drag it. So definitely good thinking from Apple's end. Now, there's also a long press interaction with the dock, and that is also reflective. So that is nice to see. It was there before, wasn't reflective, just mentioning that it is reflective now. And there's a new games app. I mean, you can check that out. You can play games with your friends, whether even if it's not multiplayer games, you can challenge each other and you can see what's trending, the top played games. And right now, this app is basically a redesigned version of Game Center for those who remember what that was. But I feel the library is not big enough yet, so that Apple needs to work on. But definitely, I think Apple is trying to head in a more gaming oriented way, and I hope it works out well for them. Now, we can talk about Safari also having a slight redesign, and you can see the buttons have become more rounded, they're less disrupting the page lesser, and also the toolbar is also reflecting the page. I mean, disrupting the page lesser. I think if I go to Nike's own website, I want to see how it would look in a third-party website. Again, a light website, so probably. Yeah, you guys can see the toolbar hides itself, and when you don't need it. So, and also it's more reflective now. So again, you can focus on whatever you are doing. You can. It's not very in your face. Now, the preview app has now come to iPadOS, which is very, very cool. And this was one thing the iPad was missing for a really long time. And now it's finally here. Previously, the previewing that was inbuilt to the Files app was very laggy. And if you even clicked out of the app accidentally, it would go back up to the first page. Now, this does not have any of those errors and also ties in the whole macOS and iPad experience. The next feature, again, is built in the preview app, and I think that's our 16th feature, and that is dark background. So if you're reading these long PDFs with a white background and you start feeling that like I can't read this anymore, you can switch to a dark background and it's a lot more pleasing to read. Works well with text-based PDFs. So that's nice that Apple included it. Hopefully we can even see it on the macOS preview app. And one more feature which I'm not able to get, which is not working exactly for me, is the remove background feature. So if you have an image, you can remove the background within the preview app. A very nice feature. Then we can talk about the Apple TV app. Now the Apple TV app is very laggy on the beta, but it's just I wanted to mention the redesign. It's a lot more united with the Apple TV like experience, the physical Apple TV experience, or the experience you get on your Fire Stick or Roku. Any of those apps which have the Apple TV Plus app, you can see the design is now a lot more unified and it's also transparent. There is also a player redesign. I don't think I'll be able to show you the content of the player redesign without opening something, but there are DRM restrictions. Okay, let's try for a second. If I probably open Linus Tech Tips. Some of their videos are compatible with with picture in picture, but I basically want to demonstrate this clear design in iPadOS, iOS. It also has the same. So just wait for this stupid ad. And yeah, hopefully picture in picture works. Okay, it's not working right now, but
what's up, everybody?
What do I show to demonstrate this? I'll include a screenshot for those of you who want to see how the player looks right now. But yeah, it is definitely nice to look at. Maybe if I go to the App Store and try to play an App Store demo, might have picture in picture, so that we can try. I don't want to show that. Is there any app which would have a video? Temple Run probably does. Right? Temple Run. Yeah. And now if I zoom out, no picture in picture. Okay. Fact of the matter is the picture in picture now is a lot more nicer. I mean, you can see the player thing now. Yeah, you can see it. It's more reflective. It reacts to the video. As you guys can see, the pause, the even the player bar. So that's basically what I wanted to show you guys. It's kind of buggy, so keep that in mind. The Maps app now remembers the locations you've been to. So if there was this nice restaurant you went out to and you will want to probably share it with your friends or someone else, and you're not able to remember the name, you can go and find it within the Maps app. So that is pretty cool. There is also a journal app in iPadOS now, finally. And the good thing about the journal app is that you can draw in it. So you can have your draw or write. So you can have your own diary experiences within this. You can say, Dear Diary, and then start writing whatever you want to write. But basically, I feel this completely changes the game when it comes to the journaling app. And it actually gives you a diary like experience. Previously, you had to type out your journal, which I didn't necessarily like. Now I might be actually open to the concept of journaling, considering I can write it with my Apple Pencil. And this syncs across your devices as far as I know. Now, while we were at it on the journaling app, I could probably even type, and you can see that there is a new keyboard design. The keyboard is now very similar to the Apple Magic keyboard with the rounded corners. The buttons are more rounded, and they take a little bit lesser. I mean, they have a little bit more space among each other. So it definitely looks nice. But interaction wise is almost the exact same. You guys can see there's no reflectiveness enabled right yet. But yeah, that small redesign of the keyboard was something I wanted to mention. Now, another thing I can talk about is the Safari hidden toolbar that I think I've already mentioned. The Photos app goes back to its sidebar like design. So previously, the photos were all jumbled within the Photos app. Now it's kind of reverted back to what it was pre iOS 18 because a lot of people were complaining about the Photos app. So if you're someone who preferred that older collections based experience, you get it in the Photos app. The camera app also gets a redesign. I don't think I'll be able to open the camera here. Would it work? Okay, the camera is working. And you can see now it has two primary focuses, the video and the photo experience. Within the photo experience, you can select what experience you want. And within the video experience, you can select what you want. Like you get the square option and this thing. This would be easier to demonstrate within the uh, iOS app. But yeah, like I was saying, it's photo and video now, and everything comes after that. I think you can move on to my front camera. Yeah, you can see my front view from here. And when I click on the photo thing, you can see square, panorama, that kind of thing. When I go under the video bar, you can see slow-mo, time lapse, and you can again see the reflectiveness that comes with liquid glass. I'll move back to the rear camera. With video now, it's easier to change the formats. You don't have to go all the way till settings to find that exact format that you need. So that is a nice feature, and everything's become more simple now to use. I felt the camera app in recent years had gotten a very bulky to use on iOS and iPadOS, and now it's gone back to its simplicity, and that's what I like about the new design. I think we can move on to the last few features. Maybe we have like 6 features left, and the features are all in Apple Music. The play bar now has a redesign in Apple Music. You can see it reflects with whatever content is there in the background. And not just that, when I click on it, and I'm dragging my finger right now, you can see it also glows based on where I'm clicking on it. Looks really nice. Very hard to implement in my opinion, but does look really nice. And there is Apple Music Auto Mix now. So if I were to Obviously, I can't demonstrate it here because I'd be breaking some copyright laws. But what I can show you is that when I go between song to song, there is using some, it's like AI and probably is AI. It's able to extract specific elements from the song and transition to the next song. It's a really nice experience to listen to. You can see mixing comes there, and the album art mixes into the other album's cover also, like, and the song also mixes. So it's really nice to experience if you have any friends with the newer iPadOS and iOS versions and they have the Apple Music subscription. Do check that feature out. Super, super nice. I am thoroughly impressed by Apple's implementation of Apple Music Auto Mix. And while speaking about that, I think I can probably put an album with a background that changes or is an adaptive background. And you can see that now when I go to the lock screen, um, the album art that is animated covers the entire screen. So that is really nice. Another level of immersion that Apple has thought about. Oh, definitely will look nice on the phones also. So keep that in mind. A new feature. I like it. Now we can talk about iMessage. For those of you that use iMessage, I will hopefully, yeah. You guys can see now you can have iMessage backgrounds. So I have set it as this with Athar. You can obviously select your own backgrounds with iMessage. Now, FaceTime has a specific card to show the people you call the most, and they can set up their own contact cards, which will be displayed within FaceTime. So that is nice. There's now a phone app and a contacts app to the iPad, whether it's cellular or non-cellular. So you can make all your calls from here and it'll use your iPhone to call. So that is, again, a very nice feature on iPadOS. I think to wrap it up, the 26th feature can be the new buttons. It's not a big feature, but it's kind of nice that Apple has painstakingly gone and redesigned the buttons on iPadOS. And that is, now when you click at it, you click on it, you will think it's just a normal button. What's different about it, right? But when you click and press, you can see that there's this green transparency that comes and also this glow behind it. Nice to interact with. And also when I think you use the iOS haptic feedback, it's going to be a nice experience. But yeah, those are some of the features I wanted to talk about in iPadOS 26. Do let me know what you liked, what you did not like. Perhaps you don't like liquid glass, or there's some certain thing you feel the multitasking is pointless. If you do, then we are ops. But I mean, you're my op. But like, if there's some feature you feel like the animated album art becoming the whole wallpaper is pointless, or if you feel the auto mixing is ruining your music experience, do let us know in the comments. And I'm sorry for making this video long, but I wanted to talk about these features. So that is it for this video. We'll catch you guys in the next video.